Hi folks, this is Mike, PC31 the Vinyl Policeman, and this is my entry to this year's vinyl tag. All questions set again by Rob Walker. I've done it for the last couple of years. I joined the community 2 years ago, and 9th of January 22. So yeah, I'm just coming up to my 2 years. Oh, and I've just gone through 1,000 just before Christmas, just come through 1,000 subs. So thank you everybody, really appreciate subbing to me, and yeah, fantastic. As Beric Jamaica always says, he encourages everybody to sub, everybody, because you know everybody puts in a lot of work into this, and everybody's got something to show and something to see, and it's so entertaining. So yeah, I agree with Mike. Just sub everybody. We haven't got to watch everything they do, but you know, why not? Why not? Yeah. So this year, Rob's done it again. Put the 20 questions together. And there's some cracking questions he's come up with. So, okay, without no further ado, let's crack on. So, number one, favourite record you purchased in 2023. So, the Grail I got hold, one of the Grails I got a hold of during the year, which I've been after for quite a long time, it was a bootleg actually, but it's the Clash Rat Patrol from Fort Bragg. And double album orange vinyl. But basically, the reason why I've been after this so much is because this is the Mick Jones original mix, the Combat Rock. This was tracks which potentially could have been on there, and it was shortened quite dramatically down into Combat Rock, and it was completely remixed, reproduced. Rest of the band didn't like it very much. Record company didn't like it very much, but this is basically Mick Jones's mix, and as an historic thing, it's really interesting. And as I say, there's some extended tracks on here, some tracks which don't appear anywhere else. But so that's one that I was after, and I actually managed to get hold of a really, really good copy. So I was pleased with that. The album, which was my favourite album, which came out in 2023. I've already done a top 10, but the one which just really capped it. There's some great new music came out in 2023, but that was the one that just captivated me, and just stayed on the turntable for a long time. The Rolling Stones' Hackney Diamonds. So that's my my favourite album I actually picked up was the Clash album, but my actual favourite new release from 2023 was Hackney Diamonds. So the second question, the last record you bought in 2023, and I actually got this just before New Year's Eve, I think it was, and it was on some vouchers I'd been given by a friend of mine for Christmas, and I bought this one, Stereo Lab, Switched On. Quite funny actually, because I didn't mean to buy it. What I was trying to buy was Peng, which is Stereo Lab's debut album, but the cover is quite similar, and I pressed the button for this one, and This is basically, from what I understand, this is before the first album, Peng. This is the singles, EP, so this was kind of A's and B sides and singles before the very first album came out. It's absolutely brilliant. So I was going to kind of, you know, send it back and get Peng, but no, I can't send this back. It's absolutely superb. But this was the very final purchase of 2023, Stereo Lab. Great stuff. Okay, Rob's third question is a band or singer that released 2 or more albums in the same year, and I've gone for 2 from 1974, and that's Queen 2 and my favourite Queen album, Sheer Heart Attack. So Queen 2 came out first around about March 74, and Sheer Heart Attack, fantastic album, came out about November 74. But that's those ones. Right, if you could only listen to music from one decade, which decade would you choose? Some fantastic decades, and each decade throws up a fantastic band and solo artist, music. But my one, without a doubt, actually would definitely be the 1970s. And when you think about the 70s, what was in there, I mean, Berwickshire Mike did a really good one actually. He went through different genres of the 70s because he chose that as well. But you know, when you think it's, you know, the decade of Dark Side of the Moon, Sabbath albums with Ozzy, those first 8 Sabbath albums, it was the decade of punk. It was the beginning of post-punk. So through that decade, you know, we had the Pistols, Clash, Stranglers, the Ramones, the Damned, Elvis Costello, on and on. Fantastic. And as I say, then into post-punk and all the fantastic things that threw up. So for me, it would definitely be the 1970s. So the next one is show a record by a band or a singer from Manchester. Rob actually is a Latic. He comes from Oldham. I think he's an Oldham, pretty sure he's an Oldham fan. He's a Latic, as they're known as. And and he obviously loves Manchester music and knows it inside out. The band I've gone for is Magazine, one of my favourite groups actually. And Magazine, Howard Devoto, John Keogh, fantastic guitarist, played for them as well. This was their debut album, which I think is one of the greatest post-punk albums. Absolutely superb. 1978 debut, Real Life, Virgin Records. I've had this for many a year, and such a fantastic album. Brilliant. So that's my Manchester band, Magazine. Next one is which band or singer did you listen to the most in 2023? This is a really hard one because I haven't got the stats like Steve at All the World's a Stage keeps brilliantly, or Dal Gatefold 33. They tend to beat the spreadsheet boys who keep these things really, really well. Marcia P, I saw her tag earlier, and she said the Kinks. And the Kinks for me is business and pleasure, so I am listening to Kinks all the way through the year for learning songs and etc, but also sheer enjoyment. So the Kinks definitely up there. Bruce toured last year and I saw Bruce. I was playing an awful lot of Bruce. Saw Public Image, played an awful lot of Public Image. But I think if it's down to the amount of albums you've added to a collection, so you've played those albums over and over, I think I go back again to Stereolab. And with Stereolab, I started the year with 0, and Mike at Play Vinyl in the Milky Night actually kind of turned me on to Stereolab. I'm a very, very late comer to them, but I've ended up, I think I've got seven of their records now, and I had a few just for Christmas with Margarine Eclipse there, which was a December edition. My favourite is still Tomato Ketchup Emperor Tomato Ketchup. But yeah, I think my most listened to is probably Stereolab. Show 7 7-inch singers. This was a good one because I've got boxes and boxes of 7-inch singers, and during the late 70s, early 80s in particular, there were certain bands I just collected everything. But I don't go through those boxes too much now because I tend to be very focused on albums. But what I've done is I've just pulled a couple of boxes and pulled out 7 interesting ones just to show you quickly. So, Planet Claire, there's a moon in the sky called the Moon, the wonderful B-52s. And Marcia P, she was going to invite Kate, Cindy and Fred to our dinner party, so that'd be a great one to go to. Magazine, Shot by Both Sides, superb, absolutely superb single, 7-inch. The Members, Sound of the Suburbs. There we go, and this one is also see-through with no label either. The label, as you look through, you see that through the actual picture sleeve. You drop it in through here. So you drop the record in and you can still see the picture through it. Gang of Four. Outside the trains don't run on time and he'll send in the army. So there's Leeds Town Hall. Mike Vinyl Spiral Territory. He's a big fan of the Gang of Four, as lots of us are actually. Yeah, Leeds Town Hall. I played this a lot leading up to Christmas in the tribute band I played with. The Kinks, 1977. Father Christmas. Brilliant picture sleeve. Great lyrics. Classic Ray Davies lyrics. So as I say, been bellowing those out for a good chunk of December. The absolute wonderful Ruts. Babylon is Burning. Wonderful, wonderful single. Really good. Joe Strummer's first band, pre The Clash, Keys to Your Heart, and the 101ers. And let's get a bit of rocking on the B side. Joe Strummer. The final one, The Four, How I Wrote Elastic Man, and B-side City Hobgoblins, The Fall. So I've just pulled those from my CD boxes. Who's coming to your party? Choose another great one, Rob. Who's coming to your party? Choose 4 music-related people to come to your imaginary dinner party. Past, present, who would you invite? What I've done is with this, I went through, when I was thinking about this, I went through my normal, it's got to be Joe Strummer, it's got to be Bruce Springsteen, it's got to be Keith Richards, etc., etc. But I thought, no, I'll do something completely different. We'll have some deep technical discussions. So what I decided to do was have a dinner party of past and present record producers. So at my dinner party would be Gus Dudgeon, who's sadly passed away, 2002, the same year as Joe. And Gus Dudgeon, obviously known mostly for Elton, Madman Across the Water, Honky Chateau, Yellow Brick Road, Captain Fantastic. He also did Space Oddity with Bowie. Yeah, fantastic producer, lots and lots of credits. So Gus Dudgeon would be there. Tony Visconti would be there. Bowie, Mark Boland, Sparks, Thin Lizzy, Badfinger, Gentle Giant, on and on, but obviously primarily Bowie and Mark Bolan he's associated with, and Man Who Sold the World, Young Americans, Heathen, Reality, Next Day, Black Star, fantastic. I'd have George Martin there, Beatles, Fifth Beatle, genius, absolutely fantastic. And just to stir it up a bit, I'd have Phil Spector there as well. Wall of Sound, Reverb, and obviously with Phil Spector, it's also associated with the Beatles. I mean, imagine the conversation with George Martin about Let It Be and the mixes that Phil Spector did. George Martin was around at the time and wasn't getting involved. But yeah, Phil Spector, obviously Ronettes, Crystals, etc., etc. So I'd have 4 absolutely huge monsters of record production. Imagine the discussion there. Absolutely superb. Okay, we lost them. Choose one musician who passed away in 2023. I was going to do Geordie Walker of Killing Joke, because I'm a big fan of Killing Joke, and he was so important to their sound, the Killing Joke sound. Super. I saw them several times, and I can't imagine Killing Joke without that sound. I mean, phenomenal. But I haven't gone for him. The one I've gone for is somebody I saw way back in the mid-70s, long time ago. And I always thought he was a fantastic guitarist. But this year we lost Gary Rossington of Leonard Skinner. And he was 71 when he died in March this year. So, yeah, Gary Rossington, there he is, in the middle there. And I saw them at least a couple of times in the 70s. And his guitar playing was fantastic. And he had such an aura about him. Brilliant guitar player. Imagine you could only listen to music from one country. Which one would you choose? Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, Rolling Stones, the Kinks, David Bowie, the Clash, the Sex Pistols, Stranglers, Led Zeppelin. It's got to be England. So fantastic music from all over the world. And again, I think it was Berisha Mike who said that he couldn't live with music from all over the world as well. He would need all that. And yeah, he's quite right. But yeah, if pushed into one corner, it would have to be Blighty. Name 3 vinyl channels you discovered in 2023. Sorry, Rob, I think I'm going to go for 4 because there's 2, I think, which were brand new channels in last year, which I discovered for the first time. They were new. But there's 2 reboots, which I also want to give mentions to as well, who completely started again last year for various reasons. And the first one, anyway, which is a brand new channel, is Jack at Vinyl Martini. He's British Columbia. Fantastic channel, Jack. Such a lovely guy. Really interesting channel with the things he shows, and from his travels into Europe as well. Excellent stuff. Jack's up to about 414 subs the last time I saw him, watched his channel. But yeah, again, going back to Berwickshire Mike's comment, sub everybody, sub Jack. He completely deserves it. Fantastic channel. The next one is Mike Vinyl Spiral. Mike in Leeds, Lord Leeds as I call him. He's got 418 subs at the moment. Such an interesting channel. He discovers things so quickly, it seems. Some continental, some European music in particular. And he sent me some lovely VCLT this year, which I really appreciate. And he opens up a lot of new artists to, I think, a lot of us. So Mike's channel is excellent. Go and sub. So a couple of channels who have been around before this year just gone, but they've had to reboot. One of them is Lloyd down in Australia, and Lloyd's channel was corrupted, so we had to restart again. So he started again relatively recently, so he's on 160 at the moment. But Lloyd, again, he does rankings videos, and he wears amusing hats sometimes. Lloyd's got a great channel, great fun. Go and sub him. Excellent. And the just 4th one is up with somebody again who's come back to the VC, who's got such an enjoyable channel, and he's really ingrained himself with so many of us now that we appear on things that he does, and absolutely superb channel. Is Steve at All the World's a Stage. Came back, I think, on the first tag of last year. He did his first one. I know that Mike Vinyl Spiral did as well. Steve's currently up to 640. He does so many great things on his channels where he does his 5 years of an artist. He does his spin on this, which I've been on. But he gets great ideas, and very, very knowledgeable guy. You just must sub him. Fantastic channel. So there's 4. Sorry about that, Rob. Question 12. Show a record you bought as a teenager. Well, my first musical love, posters on the wall, etc., when I was just a teenager, was the wonderful Slade. And my first musical hero was this man, Noddy Holder. Just one of the greatest voices in rock music. When Bon Scott died at AC/DC, Noddy got the call, did he want to go and join them? But he said, no, Slade's my baby, I can't leave Slade. But yeah, show a record you bought when you were a teenager. If this wasn't the first record I bought, it was certainly pretty close. So, the mighty Slade. Next one, show a record you think everyone has. No, that's not true at all. Show a funk or soul record. And the one I'm going to show is War, Greatest Hits. Love War. Gary, physical format rock and roll, kind of introduced me to War because I hadn't really come across them before. And now I've got a box set of all their early records, and yeah, I think they're a fantastic band. So that's War, bit of funk. Show a record you think everybody has, and then show a record you think nobody has. Well, I think everybody's probably got that. If you haven't got that, run down the shops and buy it. It's just one of the greatest records ever. Just brilliant. In fact, I saw Richard McCook the penultimate question, it's like a greatest hits. Show a record you're so familiar with that it feels like greatest hits. Richard got there first because, crikey, I think that fits the bill so well. Anyway, that's the one that everybody probably got. The one which I don't think anybody's got, I should be surprised, is one of my musical heroes is Adrian Borland of The Sound. And one of his many spin-off projects was with the Honolulu Mountain Daffodils. And this is one of their albums. I think they made 2. And I'm still trying to get the other one, which is so difficult to track down. It could be 2, actually. Guitars of the Oceanic Undergrowth and on hybrid. But the cover actually is quite interesting because it looks quite faded, but it was actually designed that way. It was designed to look as if it had been in the window of a charity shop, a thrift shop, for a long time, so it's sun-drenched. So it's meant to look that way. But yeah, the Honolulu Mountain Daffodils, Adrian Borland. She's great. A record by a female artist that you bought in 2023. Letitia Sadia, Modern Cosmology. Fantastic album. Really, really enjoy this album so much. And Letitia is obviously the lead singer of Stereolab, and this is one of her side projects. She's actually got a solo album coming out in January, which I'm really looking forward to. I know Mike Vinyl Spiral is also looking forward to as well. But yeah, Letitia Sadia. Show me a record you describe as a 90s classic. And that would be Neutral Milk Hotel. Just an absolute stunning album. Probably not for everybody, but it's one of those records that if you look at, so your Rolling Stone 500, it tends to be, I haven't looked recently, but I know in previous years it's been in the top 20. It's one of those that appears in a lot of top 100, top 500 charts all over the place. And it's a stunning album. The band only made 2 records, and this was the second one. But such an absolutely wonderful record. So for me, it's a classic from the 90s. If you could walk into the cover of a record, this is a great question, actually. This is a really good question, actually, Rob. If you could walk into the cover of a particular album and just take part, just stand in the background, do whatever, what one it would be? And the one I've gone for, I'd have to turn into a cartoon character, but it's The Crack by the Ruts. And such this famous cover. The original painting is now owned by Henry Rollins, and he loves it. It's a huge painting, the original, but you've got lots of big artists in there. Jimi Hendrix is in there. You've got John Peel. You've got Peter Cook, Dudley Moore. You've got various people at the time, but it looks like a hell of a party, doesn't it? So I think I'd like to be involved in that one, please. It's like a greatest hits. Show a record you're so familiar with that it feels like a greatest hits album. Okay. Well, as I said, I thought Richard McCook had a fantastic one with Never Mind the Bollocks. But mine one is The Police, Outlander Some More. Their debut album. I mean, when you look at this album, I know this so well. This was parties for me, this album at the time. Next to You, So Lonely, Roxanne, Whole of My Life, Peanuts, Can't Stand Losing You, Truth Hits Everybody, Born in the 50s, Be My Girl, Masoko Tanga. Fantastic album. I mean, a lot of those were singles anyway and did really, really well on the charts. But that would be my one. This is really old. I've got a few copies of this. That's an old battered copy. This year, actually, I treated myself to a nice clean one on blue vinyl. And the very last question from Rob for this year's tag is, show me an album that was released in 1974. Lots of great albums released in 1974, but I thought I'd show you my favourite David Bowie album. again, which I share with Richard McCook, so I know it's his favourite as well. Diamond Dogs. Just such a great album. When you think Bowie played guitar on this, no Mick Ronson, all those great guitarists, they're Bowie. Did so much on this, but I think it's a fantastic album. So that's my tag for this year. Thanks again, Rob, for putting it together. Fantastic questions, really, really good ones. And I like how I'm trying to get through all the responses. So thanks, Rob. Happy New Year, everybody.